said it so many times today, but he's your favourite fighter. One of my favourite fighters to watch him. I hope when I beat him he doesn't retire. I hope he has some more fights. I hope he doesn't retire once I beat him, but that's what's going to happen. I'm going to beat him just like I beat Michael Chandler. Beat him for the punch on the feet, ruin his legs with kicks. I'm going to damage his calf, and if it does go to the ground, it'll be over even faster.
Poirier just dropped a prediction that's going to shock the MMA world ahead of this massive UFC 34 main event showdown.
Towards Justin.
You're one of the few that I've heard say that. Can you tell us why?
I just think he's been in those 25-minute fights. He's been in dog fights before.
This seasoned fighter pointed to something crucial that most people are overlooking. Gaethje's been through absolute wars in those grueling 5-round battles, and that experience creates something you just can't teach in any training facility. It's that deep understanding of how to dig deep and find another gear when everything's falling apart. Poirier seriously questions whether Pimblett can keep Gaethje at distance during striking exchanges, and he's not convinced the British fighter can secure takedowns against someone with such rock-solid defensive wrestling. This puts Pimblett in a tough spot where trading punches becomes almost inevitable. The biggest test, according to Poirier, will be maintaining focus throughout those entire 25 minutes, staying calm, picking the right moments to engage, and avoiding getting drawn into chaos. There's a certain wisdom that only comes from years of championship-level warfare. Gaethje brings significantly heavier hands and shows complete willingness to walk through fire to deliver his own devastating shots. Avoiding that relentless assault for 5 complete rounds presents an enormous challenge for anyone, especially someone stepping into their first title fight.
Sometimes stopping him on the feet, and I don't think Paddy's going to be able to get him down, so he's going to have to fight with him. Unless Paddy can stay super disciplined for 25 minutes, stay at distance, pick his shots. Justin's just a bigger puncher, and he'll put himself in harm's way to land one of those shots. And it's tough to stay away from it for 25 minutes.
Do you think that the UFC wants Paddy to win?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, because Justin's talking about retirement, and Paddy's still young, and they can continue to build him. There's a bunch of fights we haven't seen with Paddy. So it's more marketable if Paddy wins.
And so how do you see it playing out?
I think Justin stops him.
Wow.
Hold up. Alexander Volkanovski sees this fight from a completely different angle as UFC 34 approaches on January 24th. The former featherweight king believes Pimbeltt will pull off the victory and capture that interim. His reasoning comes down to what he's witnessed from Pimbeltt when facing adversity throughout his UFC journey. Multiple times when critics wrote off the Liverpool native before crucial battles, he came back by perfectly executing his game plan and silencing every doubter. Volkanovski specifically pointed to Pimbellett's recent performance against Chandler as evidence of his ability to stick to a predetermined strategy when the heat gets turned up. That particular skill will be absolutely essential against someone as dangerous and explosive as Gaethje.
Fun fight. I'm going to go with Paddy, you know what I mean? There's been a couple of times where I thought Paddy's had big tests in front of him and he's passed them. And, you know, he showed me in his last fight he can really stick to a game plan. And he's going to need that with a Gaethje. So I'm going to go Paddy.
Covington shared his thoughts with Submission Radio, expressing frustration that betting lines are heavily favoring Pimblett if active fighters were allowed to place wagers on fights. Covington said he would risk serious money on Gaethje taking this one. Despite overwhelming public support swinging toward the British contender, Covington sees Gaethje as a tough, battle-tested warrior who will present Pimblett with challenges unlike anything he's previously faced. The test waiting for Pimblett come fight night will reveal whether he truly belongs among the elite, or if his rise has been somewhat manufactured.
You know, if he gets it done, it's because Justin's just so shot. He's been in so many wars. You know, he's been around the company so long, and that knockout to Max Holloway, he just hasn't recovered from. So if he gets to win that, then yeah, there. But this is seems like a smash spot. Like if I was able to bet fighting, which we're not allowed to because the feds got involved because that moron coach James Krause screwed it up for all of us. But this seems like a smash spot on Gaethje because everybody's on, and all the public is driving the money line for Paddy Pimblett to be the favorite. But you know, I think Justin's still a tough dog, and he's going to come out there and give his all, and he doesn't want to lose this fight. This could be his last fight if he loses. So, you know, I think he's going to put Paddy to the test, and, you know, Paddy, you know, usually has to control the wrestling aspect, put guys to the ground to get his submission and to get his striking game working. So, you know, I don't know. Justin's shot on one hand, they're trying to give him an easy win on a silver platter to Paddy to build him up. You know, he's got a little bowl cut and a little mouth, and they think he's the next star. So I don't know. It's a tough fight to judge. You know, how much is left in the tank for Justin versus a guy that's absolute nobody that hasn't actually accomplished anything in the sport yet. We shall see.
Hooker jumped into that conversation with similar thoughts, strongly questioning Pimblett being installed as the betting favorite. Hooker highlighted Gaethje's incredibly solid takedown defense as a major problem for Pimblett's game plan. He said, "No way, I'm not buying Paddy as the favorite. Gaethje's takedown stuffing is really solid. I don't see him getting Gaethje to the mat. We haven't witnessed Paddy step in there that frequently and compete against the top guys in their prime." Belal Muhammad broke down the matchup on his YouTube channel and ultimately sided with Gaethje as well. The former welterweight title challenger focused on Pimblett's tendency to absorb significant damage during stand-up exchanges. That particular vulnerability becomes much more dangerous against someone with Gaethje's finishing ability and aggressive fighting style. Muhammad believes these defensive lapses will eventually catch up to him.
Don't get pulled into chaos. Don't get pulled into a grappling or wrestling or showing that you could do what he can do better, right? I think on the feet, Justin, you have a really big advantage. And if you're patient, you're smart, you systematically break him down, kind of like how you did against Tony Ferguson, it'll be an easy night for you. For Paddy, I think you got to create chaos. You got to wrestle as much as possible. Yeah, he has college wrestling accolades. This isn't college wrestling. This is UFC. This is fighting. This is punches. This is grappling. This is everything involved. So if I'm Paddy, I'm going to shoot in early and test it early. Because when you guys are both dry, that's where it comes. We've seen guys like Khabib catch a low kick and shoot off it, or as he's pulling that kick back, shoot off it, pushing him to the fence. We've seen him get pressured. We don't want to get hit by him. Everybody who gets hit by him says how hard he hits. He's one of the hardest hitters in the division. So let's not test your chin. Let's not say Scousers don't get knocked out, right? We don't need to do that. I think your path to victory is clear. It's on the ground. I think you will have a big advantage if it gets into those hard grappling exchanges. And especially if you get multiple takedowns on him. You were able to control Michael Chandler, who's another college wrestler, on the ground pretty easily, mounted him. And you say you want to do the same thing with Justin? Let's put that plan to action. My pick, I think I'm going to go with Justin. I think Paddy just gets hit a lot on the feet. Yeah, he's pretty much clean his last two victories, but Jared Gordon had some clean shots on him, big hooks, big crosses. And Justin kind of like boxes, kind of like Jared. Clean, he likes dirty boxing, he likes inside boxing. Justin's very good there, so I think I'm going to pick Justin in this one. I don't know if he knocks him out or finishes him. I do think kind of would be a decision. I'm going on the Tony Ferguson type fight. Paddy's tough. He's not hard to break. I mean, he's not easy to break.
Chandler offered a uniquely valuable viewpoint given his rare position of having faced both fighters. After Pimblett's submission victory over him in April 2025, Chandler gained first-hand knowledge of skills many observers underestimate. He openly admits the Liverpool fighter possesses more talent than casual fans realize. However, when forced to make a definitive prediction, Chandler still favors Gaethje, pointing to his experience and well-rounded skill set. The former Bellator champion sees Gaethje as representing a completely different level of opposition Pimblett hasn't encountered in his professional career. Chandler even went further by suggesting Gaethje could potentially unify the titles later against Poirier, though he also praised Poirier as possibly the most skilled fighter in mixed martial arts today. The lightweight division has become incredibly complex, with multiple talented fighters all making legitimate cases. Gaethje, what's your take on how this plays out?
Oh man, more skilled, more experienced, I think better fighter all around, Justin Gaethje. But I also have been on record and said that Paddy Pimblett is better than a lot of people think he is. You know, because of his haircut and the way he talks, and when I fought him, he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's got long reach, good kicks, pretty darn patient and composed in there, but Gaethje's a whole different animal. So if I had to bet, I'd go Justin Gaethje, interim champion, and then he beats Urijah Faber later on this year.
O'Malley stood apart from the crowd by confidently supporting Pimblett to win the interim championship. The bantamweight star sees this as an ideal stylistic matchup for the British grappler to navigate. O'Malley predicted Pimblett will find an opportunity during round 2 and finish things with a rear naked choke. This shows tremendous faith in Pimblett's ground game and his ability to recognize openings amid the chaos of battle. O'Malley believes those finishing instincts will make the difference when everything's on the line.
I don't know, dude. I'm kind of leaning towards Paddy. But the way he does get hit with left hooks, he looks so good against Michael Chandler. Paddy's got a lot of ways to win.
He's a scouser.
He's a scouser. Scousers don't get knocked out, you mushroom.
He KO'd Dustin with a head kick, too. The fight before the Max Holloway one, which is pretty impressive.
True. So who you got, man?
Probably Paddy, rear naked.
I think, Paddy RNC.
Down in the
Because
detail.
remember Khabib.
Yeah. Remember Khabib.
Paddy by rear naked choke is absolutely locked in. Matt Brown expressed opinions that go beyond simple fight predictions into broader criticism of modern UFC matchmaking practices. The veteran voiced genuine frustration about what this particular fight represents in terms of how title shots are distributed. Brown sees Pimblett's rapid ascension to an interim title opportunity as divorced from pure competitive merit. Instead, it appears tied more closely to social media following and marketability factors that drive pay-per-view numbers. He made a sharp comparison to Arman Dussarukian, who methodically checked every competitive box possible by defeating top contenders and proving himself against the division's most dangerous fighters. Despite such credentials, Dussarukian somehow found himself excluded from title consideration while Pimblett earned this premium opportunity. This critique reflects broader concerns about how championships are contested in the current era, where popularity sometimes trumps performance.
Basically saying Paddy's more popular, you're getting it over Arman.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, right? And that's, I mean, God, I hate like how I kind of get into this too much, but I mean, that's really like, that's the definition of, you know, a monopoly where a single promoter owns the title and the rankings. And it's not a good thing for the sport, in my opinion. And I have to question what it's going to do for the longevity of the sport. You know, I don't think in the short term it's really going to make a big difference, right? Like, you know, it's going to sell the next fight, right? It's going to sell the next pay-per-view. But trends tend to come and go, right? Fads tend to come and go. At some point, like, you know, to have staying power and lasting power, I think it requires, you know, a meritocracy-based system. It's going to require, you know, some, you know, if you want to bring in guys like Arman Sterling or Movsar Evelev, I always mess up how I say his name. You know, you want to bring in these Olympic wrestling level guys. I mean, they don't want to have to go out there and put on some ridiculous show to become a champion. They don't want to have to go on Instagram and start a podcast and make you know, whatever kind of skits on social media and this silly kind of stuff. Like, they just want to be a world champion because they want to be the best athlete. And that's what makes me wonder how the staying power is going to be, right? When you're dealing with guys that are, you know, legitimate athletes that want to be legitimate athletes, and they're getting passed up by guys that are entertainers.
Faber presented, sharing thoughts similar to others backing Gaethje. The former WEC champion sees Gaethje as a competitor who truly thrives when fights turn into wild exchanges, showing zero hesitation to take damage in order to dish out his own punishment. While Faber acknowledges the danger posed by Pimblett's ground game, he trusts Gaethje's Division I wrestling background to provide the defensive tools necessary for surviving grappling confrontations. This solid foundation should allow Gaethje to steer engagements back to stand-up warfare, the domain where he holds clear advantages and operates at his highest level.
Pimblett and Justin Gaethje, who do you favor in that fight?
I gotta go with Gaethje. I feel like he's the one that loves to like get down and throw fist for fist, and he's also got the Division I wrestling to negate some of the biggest skill sets of Paddy. Paddy's like a very dominant grappler when it comes to submissions. I think Gaethje has the tools to keep it where he wants.
He faced both contenders. During his long UFC career, he suggested motivation could be a deciding element that numbers and technique can't fully capture. Ferguson believes Gaethje's complicated history with interim belts and repeated title shot disappointments might create mental baggage affecting his performance. Meanwhile, Pimblett's hunger to capture his first major championship could ignite the kind of determination that pushes fighters beyond their normal limits. Ferguson views both competitors as flawed based on what he's observed, but he leans slightly toward backing the newcomer chasing glory.
Bad, dude. Paddy's not bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again, Paddy's in for a new treat, right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. He's going in there. He's going to be trying to, you know, get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more pressure. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness, in my opinion.
Renato Moicano made a bold prediction declaring Pimblett would win by submission. His logic suggests that unless Gaethje scores an early knockout or technical knockout, the fight will inevitably move to grappling scenarios where Pimblett holds decisive advantages. Moicano argues that betting markets have failed to properly account for the massive gap in submission skills between these two athletes. The current odds should reflect a much closer contest than what bookmakers are currently offering. This suggests a potential blind spot in how mainstream audiences evaluate this matchup, overvaluing striking exchanges.
Tough matchup, you know. I think 5 rounds. If this is the common take. Everybody gonna say that, not only me, but if Justin Gaethje doesn't stop him on the beginning, he's going to lose. I think everybody thinks like that. And I think Paddy Pimblett will beat Justin Gaethje. That's what I think.
Eddie Alvarez adopted a completely different angle for his breakdown, drawing from extensive experience with Gaethje's style since handing him his first UFC defeat. Rather than focusing on raw talent or technique, Alvarez emphasized preparation quality as potentially determining the winner. The former lightweight champion explained how Gaethje brings a unique type of pressure that training partners simply cannot authentically replicate during camp. Alvarez vividly recalls the constant physical punishment, suffocating pace, and complete absence of breathing room that define his fights. No amount of preparation can truly ready someone for that reality until experiencing it firsthand under championship lights. The fighter who adapts quicker when that opening bell rings might claim victory regardless of what happened during preparation. The first memory that surfaces when considering that battle with Justin.
That I'm glad it's over and I never want to do it again. I'm like, the fans don't ever ask for a rematch or anything like that, because that would have never. I'm like, I'm glad. He's unique, man, and he's one of my favorite guys to watch. So like, but if you want to beat Justin Gaethje, you have to. So he's a forward fighter and a pressure fighter that he will stand in the pocket. And he's gonna throw everything he got in that pocket. If you don't meet him, you'll get chewed up. So Paddy, the way to beat a guy who like does this, very violent, aggressive pressure fighter, you have to meet him. You have to throw when he throws. So you got to be brave, and you have to go when he goes in between his shots. If you do that, you got a fair shot. If you don't do that, if you're not brave and courageous and throw when he throws in between his shots, it's going to be a really long night. It's going to be a hard night for you.
Bisping added his voice to those supporting Pimblett, highlighting the British fighter's adaptability as a crucial factor. The former middleweight champion also mentioned that legendary Liverpool durability, which has become part of Pimbellett's reputation. Despite acknowledging Gaethje's status as one of MMA's most lethal strikers, Bisping believes Pimbelett will find his path to victory through seamless transitions between striking and grappling phases when necessary. This flexible ability to shift momentum and alter the fight's rhythm creates a weapon that could prove vital when Pimbelett needs to escape dangerous positions or establish his control. His capacity to threaten from multiple dimensions forces opponents to make difficult decisions about where to focus their defensive resources.
Now we know an interim champion basically means the #1 contender, but if Paddy can pull it off, unbelievable. That'll be 4 champs, 2 interims and 2 legit, well 3 legit now with Tom being promoted from the UK that have become champions. And for Justin Gaethje, this is the final go. This is the final crack of the whip. The man's had 2 title fights in the past, Charles Oliveira to Khabib Nurmagomedov, and now he gets to go up against Paddy Pimblett. Now talking about the matchup, of course, it is an easier fight for Justin than what it is against Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the greatest of all time. Islam Makhachev, the current pound for pound, and according to many people, a man that is surpassing Khabib Nurmagomedov, right? So in that regard, it is an easier matchup. Will Paddy be able to take him down? Will he dance around the octagon? Yes, he will. Will he try and replicate the game plan off Max Holloway? Of course he will. Who wouldn't try and do that? You aren't going to stand and go toe-to-toe with Justin Gaethje because the man does have knockout power. But underestimate Paddy at your peril.
With UFC 344 drawing near, this interim lightweight championship bout headlining the card, the MMA world stays completely divided on the probable result. Saturday Night Showdown at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas will deliver definitive answers to debates that have sparked endless arguments. Whether Gaethje's experience and knockout ability overwhelm Pimblett's perfect record, or if the Brit's grappling expertise and adaptability prove too overwhelming for the veteran to handle, stays uncertain. Both fighters arrive carrying different types of expectations and drive that could ultimately shift the balance when everything matters most under those blazing arena lights.